You already possess a fear of flying? This video may not be for you. On March 5th, 1963, a Soviet passenger plane was making its descent. However, a dust storm had kicked up moments prior that had messed up their communications. The air control tower was not able to communicate with them that it was not safe to land. So when the plane did try to land, all it did was careen and crash across the runway. This would kill 4 passengers and some of the crew, but the others would escape practically unharmed. A few years after this, on November 15th, 1967, a pilot would take a plane up for a test flight. Just a few minutes into flight, after reaching altitude, he would state that he was experiencing electrical disturbances, which was making the handling all squirrely. Immediately after this transmission, this plane would spiral out of control and crash. Upon impact, it destroyed the plane and killed the pilot. And this was only minutes into the flight. On June 24th, 1972, a plane was making its descent into Puerto Rico when suddenly a heavy fog rolled in, and suddenly the plane veered off as if it was trying to avoid something. It turns out that there was supposedly an unauthorized vehicle in the runway that caused this plane to crash. However, after investigation was done, there was no unauthorized vehicle that could be tracked to that space on the runway. On May 25th, 1979, a plane would take off from O'Hare International Airport, and just several minutes into its flight, its left engine would suddenly, for no reason at all, just detach from the plane and fall to the ground. The engine falling to the ground would kill 2 people, and when the plane crashed, it would kill all that were on board. On August 2nd, 1985, a plane making another approach to land in a storm was hit by a wind that came up and tilted the plane, forcing it to crash. This also would have a high death toll. On August 27, 2006, another plane would take off, but only for a few seconds. They would line up on runway 26 as opposed to the runway they were supposed to be at, which was runway 22. Which was the exact length they needed to be able to get the right speed to have liftoff. Runway 26 was a lot shorter. When they reached the runway, they lifted off just for a few seconds before careening back into the ground. On March 27, 2012, a plane would take off and it would land safely, but not before the captain had a mental breakdown that seemed to threaten the lives of everybody on board. He was forcibly restrained to one of the passenger seats. All of these flights that I have told you about today have one thing in common. They all had the flight number attached to them, 191.